This is Akashwani. Time for a weekly program, Our Guest. And our guest today, Nitish is hosting Kavita Datta with over 30 years of experience in communications. Kavita has worked for the government of Madhya Pradesh in the Public Relations Department and the State Tourism Development Corporation. A practitioner of yoga, Kavita is an active volunteer with Isha Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to the well-being of the individual and the world. I hand over the mic to the show host, Nitish Arora, for the same.
The nation and the world is going to celebrate World Yoga Day. The whole world has come to know about yoga. But yoga is something which is in our ethos. To preach or teach yoga to Indians comes so very naturally to them. But unfortunately, they had lost it somewhere in the mist, and we have found it again. And that's how I found our guest today. 2 or 3 years ago, we were in an international meet and I saw Kavita ji. She was there telling the world about yoga. That's how I met her and that's how she is here. Kavita ji, welcome to Akashwani.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. Absolutely an honor and privilege, and to be speaking about yoga.
You live a very active life, career-wise. How does yoga help you? What is the meaning of yoga to you?
That's a very interesting question. Yes, it's a hectic, active life. Yes. So for me, yoga is part of my life. I don't know how to answer a question, what it means to me. It would be very cliched to say yoga is life. Yoga means life to me. But having said that, the external situations can never be in your control. And I have realized, because of my practices, which I have been doing very religiously, very sincerely for last 10 to 12 years, it has given me the wherewithal, it has given me the necessary, the Suraksha Chakra that you get to deal with the outside world. So I am ready internally to face the outside world.
And you said that this came to you only 10 years ago, just a decade.
Yes, it's a little more than a decade when I met Sadhguru. I did the entire program and I did the Shambhavi Mahamudra, which is a 21-minute yogic kriya. It was so transformative. I didn't understand the intricacies at that point of time. I just went through the program. But it kind of connected to me so beautifully that I just did the kriya, the 21-minute Shambhavi Mahamudra, every single day. And then later I realized what is the kind of impact it was having on me. Yoga for me is like, it's the synergy between mind, body, energy and emotion. But when I say this, it sounds very technical. It sounds very, I don't know how to express it. It sounds that I'm just using a couple of words to communicate a thought. But when you do it, just every single day, you really experientially feel what is the kind of impact it's having on you.
And then you said that you were able to analyze that there is some difference which has come into your personality when you were discovering yoga 10 years ago. So now, a decade after that, how do you compare the two Kavitas? One before entering into yoga and getting into yoga and knowing yoga and yoga coming to you, and now?
That's a nice way of asking what is the difference. Yes, the difference is I think I'm more connected to myself. Experientially, I feel like a different person altogether. I feel more connected to myself. I'm able to understand the external situations much better. I feel I'm more connected to my interiority. Not that I don't have ups and downs, because the external situation in the world, whether it is personal, professional, can never be controlled. And I have realized because of my practices, I am more in control of myself. No matter what you do, no matter what you achieve in terms of money, wealth, family, understanding, but if your interiority is not balanced, तो कोई मजा नहीं है. Your bank balance or whatever you own or possess does not reflect your mental state. So I realized because of my kriyas, because of my practices, I was far more balanced and just a wee bit detached. I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. It's work in progress. But I'm more understanding of the situation and comparatively more balanced than the Kavita that was.
Nowadays, yoga has more or less become a fad. They said now the day is coming, and then we want to do yoga and the exercises. And does this mean that yoga is only exercise? Does this mean that you should only restrict yourself to a day, have a photograph, selfies, and post it on the social media and tell the world that yes, I love yoga?
Oh my God, not at all. Not at all. Far from it. Actually, thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister for having an International Day of Yoga, so that the soft power of India, so we are able to talk about it. It's more, as we say in communication, the first most important thing is to do the right thing. And the second most important thing is to tell the people that you're doing the right thing. So the World Yoga Day is to tell people what it is. Something that is so much a part of our culture, of our understanding. International Day of Yoga had a very different understanding. It's a different impact. It's a way to tell people what yoga is. But once you know what yoga is, you need to practice it. Sometimes it becomes very intimidating ki, oh my God, you need to do a practice every day. Kaise hoga ye? But I think if you just take one day at a time, just to have the discipline, sincerity, and commitment to yourself, that it is just one day at a time. And also, I wish to share this. Initially, when I started, perhaps, maybe, I started it as an exercise. But when I realized what it was doing to me, it's not merely stretching of hands and legs. It's very holistic. It impacts your spiritual being. It activates that interiority that has been quiet for some time, that we are disconnected with. Just taking yoga as an exercise would be talking about yoga in just about 2 to 3% of what its impact can be.
Fitness is something that everybody is looking for, and they are looking for so many various ways to achieve that fitness. There are many modern ways of doing it. How is that different from yoga, or how yoga is different from all those things that are really attracting the youth? I can't say that yoga is not attracting them now, but still, there is sizable number of people who are looking for somewhere else for that fitness mantra. How is yoga different from that?
Yoga is, of course, very different, because we are talking about yoga means union. We're talking about yoga is the synergy of mind, body, energy, and emotion. Yoga is connecting to yourself, which is most important. और सबसे खूबसूरत चीज़ जो योग के बारे में है, since as part of my work I travel a lot, so no matter which part of the world you are in, no matter where you go, at what time, wherever you get up, you just need a छोटा सा ज़मीन का टुकड़ा जहाँ पर भी आप हैं, and you can just sit, open your mat and do your practices. आप खुद चाहिए, आपकी लगन, आपकी understanding और आपका commitment to be a better person, to use yoga to be a better person and to be more joyful. Actually, better or not, I'm not too sure, but yes, to be very joyful, which is the Adharbhoot of what we want to
and
do.
You said life. You travel a lot, and yoga is something which takes you inside. So wherever you are going, you are still connected with your own self, and absolutely. That is something which is very important. That is what yoga is.
Yoga could be meditation, spirituality, pranayam. The kriyas that you're doing, how you can, it's transformative. What I want to say basically is, to understand the essence of yoga, you need to experientially do it. And once you start experiencing it, there is no way that you will not be connected to it. So even if I say it's not only exercise, these are just words.
Somebody who is starting it, initiator, beginner, what they should do to stick to it, because we see that people leave it in between, because people come very enthusiastically, they want to take up yoga, and after, let's say, a month or so, or it's 6 months, they say, okay, I'm fine with it, I will go back to my normal way of life, which is not normal actually.
As is the human sensibility, we sometimes, for anything, not only for yoga, we realize that we do lack discipline, when we go to work. Till such time there are very strict understandings. We will not punch in at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We tend to spread into the comfort zone very, very easily. For me, what worked was I started with one day at a time. The one day that I would do my practices and my kriyas, I felt very joyful. It was very difficult for anybody to make me angry. I felt more balanced. I felt more in control of myself and the external situations. So that gave me a huge kick to do it the next day. The moment I made a commitment, oh, I will do it for 1 month, then I thought it was a very huge task I was taking on myself. So for me, breaking it down into small pieces of one day at a time, that this is the commitment I want to do to myself, get out into the world with that Suraksha Chakra and doing my kriyas and my prayers, and then, so that worked for me. That really worked for me.
So, what's your normal day like now? How is yoga part of your daily routine?
I would like to start my day by having a couple of hours to myself. So, at least the first few hours of my day, how I begin the day, should be in my control. So I get up at about between 5 and 5:30, and I start my kriyas. After getting ready, getting fresh, I start my kriyas 2 to 3 hours, and I do my prayers. It takes me about 1 hour 35, 1 hour 40 minutes to do my morning kriyas and my exercises, and I'm ready for the day.
Well, friends, if you need some money, you have to go to your ATM, insert the card into the machine, and get the kind of money that you need for a day or for a month or for 15 days. I think yoga is, if you want to like understand it in a very pedestal way, it's like that only. So she draws her energy from the yogic exercise right in the morning at 5:30, and whole day is spent likewise. So are there any days or situations where you extend your yogic kriya to draw in more money?
Yes, we also have a practice called the Shunya. So that I do as part of my practice in the afternoon. It is just sitting. It is just being. It is just closing your eyes and in Shunya, as it is called, for 12 to 14 minutes. That I do sometime in the afternoon. And that's about it.
And the Shunya is so full and 15 minutes are over. How do you want me to conclude this? What do you want to tell my listeners, your listeners, why yoga?
जैसा कहते हैं ना कि योगा से ही होगा, I would like to go a step further. योगा से ही होगा और किसी से नहीं होगा. Not because experientially I have felt it, but all the spiritual masters have also told us कि this, if you are mentally balanced, if you are connected to yourself, if you have a better connection or a better understanding yourself, anything and everything that is happening in the external world will make sense, and it'll be very joyful. You will understand and take things in perspective and be a very joyful being, the way you should be, the way Paramatma has conceived you to be, only with yoga.
Yoga se hi hoga.
Yes.
You really actually framed it very well. When I was planning this Our Guest program, and in connection with the International Yoga Day, World Yoga Day, and I was told that you should be calling somebody who is a practitioner, telling listeners how to do this mudra, how to do that mudra. I said, fine, that is one aspect of yoga. But how somebody has been benefited by it is the person who can actually give the right perspective to the listeners. I'm so very glad, Kavita Datta, you made it to our studios. I wish that my listeners could see her, the peace, tranquility, and the happiness that is reflected on her face.
Thank you.
Really makes it perfectly clear that agar hoga, to yoga se hi hoga. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You were listening to the weekly program Our Guest, that is broadcast every Monday at 9:15 a.m. Don't forget to tune in next week, same day, same time and same frequency for more on Our Guest. Have a nice day.